Hey everyone, it's Nico, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing for you a recently released indie game called Turbo Boost Racing. Now this game kind of lands somewhere between Cruisin' Blast and Forza, I guess, because it does have like daily missions and you can upgrade your vehicles and customize them and things like that, and you level up and you earn money. And so it's got a bit of that more simulation style aesthetic going for it, but then the gameplay is kind of more arcadey, but not quite as wacky as like Cruisin' Blast. So just kind of wanted to set the expectations for this, and also take into consideration that since this is an indie game, it doesn't have any licensed music, it doesn't have any licensed vehicles, although most of the vehicles you can pretty much tell what they are. It's blatantly obvious that they're, I don't want to say rip-offs, but they're inspired by real-life vehicles. Now, in Turbo Boost Racing, you can play this single-player or local multiplayer if you want, and there's some different modes. There's a tournament mode, which is kind of like the story mode, I guess. There's actually no story, but that's the closest thing you have. Then you could just do one-off races, so that's kind of like a quick play. There's time trials where you try to beat specific times to earn 3 stars, 2 star, or 1 star. And then Hot Seat is like your multiplayer mode. And you also have a shop where you can buy new cars. You can also test drive them before you even purchase them to see if you actually like it. And then you also have your garage, which you can customize your cars, change the paint, new rims, upgrade the brakes or the performance, all these kind of variables with the cash that you earn. At the start of each race, there's also boosts that you can either purchase with your money or you'll unlock them as you play through tournament mode, and these are like consumables that'll give you a one-time boost to that race. Now, the first thing I kind of want to say about this is that they don't have any tutorial here. So no matter which mode you play, whether it's tournament, race, time trial, or hot seat, you're going to get thrown right into it. And there's actually nothing that even tells you the controls for the game. I'm not kidding. The options don't even tell you the controls. So this is like that old school style where you just load it up, push buttons, and figure out what does what. But the caveat to this is you can also not customize the controls. And while I wouldn't say that the button mapping is bad, the idea of both the left and the right thumbstick both controlling the car, and there's no camera control, you can't look behind you, none of that. Seems like a pretty baffling omission, like to not be able to look behind you or adjust the camera or even change the camera angle. Man, that's not a good start, I know, but I did have to point that out. So you'll race through no matter what mode you play. There's different types of races in the tournament mode. There's eliminations, so there'll be less racers the further you get into it. And the tracks, they're okay. I didn't hate any of the tracks. I didn't love any of them. They're alright. There's some hairpin turns on some. Others are kind of straightaways where you can really crank on the NOS. Not much else to say about the tracks. Throughout the course of this review, you'll see plenty of different tracks and footage, so you can judge for yourself on what you think about them. But what I will say about the environments and things like that is that they did a really great job with making this not only look good, but also perform well. Because it's no secret that in 2024, the Switch is aging hardware, and a lot of the time with racing games, since you're going so fast, and the CPU being a little bit slower on the Switch, you'll see like a lot of pop-in. And while I did notice a little bit of pop-in, there wasn't a ton of it. So from a performance aspect, this runs butter smooth, 60 FPS, and that's a great thing because that is not always a given with racing games. Driving through the courses, the starter car that you have, at first I thought it just maybe sucked, because when I would try to brake and take a tight turn, it'd feel like my brakes didn't do anything. Like they didn't feel responsive, and it made it really hard to take tight turns. Now, I upgraded my brakes all the way, and it made a pretty negligible difference. So I think that's just the way they designed the game as a whole, or maybe it is just the starter car. I don't know. I didn't try any of the other cars because I just upgraded this one. Because the other cars, when I tried them with the trial before you purchase them, I just thought they controlled even worse than the starter car, to be honest. So I just stuck with this one. The game does have some music as you're playing through the courses. It's okay. Again, it's kind of average. It's not catchy. It's not terrible. It's there. You could turn it off if you don't like it, and you can always, put on some music of your own. There's no different difficulties, so if you're not good at racing games, I wouldn't say this one's hard by any means, and it gets easier as you upgrade your vehicle, but it doesn't have any variety to the difficulties. There's just one difficulty, and that's what you're going to play on. I spent the majority of my time playing this in the tournament mode, and the first time I played the tournament mode, I had to go after about 8 racers or so. So I thought, okay, I'll just back out to the menus and pick up where I left off. No. It does not save your progress in tournament mode, which is a bit baffling because it's about 12 races or so, which is a decent chunk of time, to play in one sitting. So I don't understand why they don't have an option to continue the tournaments, but they do not. Time trial mode and stuff like that, obviously it saves. There's player icons you'll unlock, your profile level. It does save, but for some reason, it does not save your tournament progress, and I didn't like that. I did then come back the following day and play through tournament mode, and I said, okay, I've got some time, I'm going to play through this. And I played all the way through it, and I accumulated as much money as I can, earning boosts. And at this point, my car was pretty well upgraded, so it was fairly easy for me to get first on every race and place first overall in the tournament. But one thing I do want to point out as well about the tournament mode that kind of stinks is that you earn money as you're playing through it, but you cannot enter your garage and change anything on your car as you're playing through the tournament mode. So when you start the tournament, make sure you're prepared, because you have to play through the entirety of it without ever backing out and without ever upgrading anything on your car. The only thing you can purchase are boosts, and you can equip 3 of these per race. So when I finally finished my tournament, okay, I got my spoils. And then you know what happened? The game crashed on me. It was disappointing for sure, and I don't know if this would happen every single time you complete a tournament. But when I rebooted the game, it did seem like it saved my progress before it crashed. So it was just a minor inconvenience, but still, come on now. Crashes are unacceptable in a released product. Turbo Boost Racing overall is fairly generic. It doesn't really do anything that warrants you to play it, unless maybe you only have a Switch and you do like more arcadey style racing games. But if you have like a PC or a PlayStation or an Xbox and you normally play racing games on any of those other platforms besides the Switch, this one's a tough sell because it doesn't really do anything exceptional, but it also doesn't necessarily do anything poorly either. It's just kind of middle of the road, and for the $20 asking price, it's a bit high even for like a curiosity. So maybe if this one looked pretty interesting, or you're just interested in it regardless, I would say probably wait for like a half off sale when it's like $10. I don't really think it's worth 20. I played through the tournament mode and some races and time trials and things, spent a few hours on it, and I've honestly had my fill with it, and I don't think I'll come back to it. So if Turbo Boost Racing looked interesting and you don't care about the price and you don't care about spending a ton of time with it, you can certainly do much worse. I've played worse racing games, but there's also much better out there. I appreciate you watching this review. Hope you found it helpful. There's not a lot of coverage on this game, so I did want to do a review on it. I always like covering games that don't have a lot of coverage, because sometimes you just want a review on a game that bigger channels don't cover. and I'm here for you. So if you enjoyed this, give it a like. Comment below if you have any questions, if there's anything I didn't cover, or maybe you want to know greater detail on something, and I'll be sure to get back to you. But until next time, have a good one.